From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBIC, the Primetime Capper, and it is time for the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles Live. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you are feeling the same. And man, it's beautiful. It's Tuesday today, and we're getting very close to the end of the year. We have 24 days left in the year of 2021. So I know that it was an exciting weekend of boxing. It's been a pretty much an exciting last literally 6 months of boxing as well too. Boxing is back in full takeover mode. I think that boxing is starting to really pique people's interest again, and there's a lot of really good boxers out here right now being able to make a lot of moves in the industry as well too. Especially this guy right here, Tank Davis, wins a unanimous decision in LA in front of another sellout crowd. And but little Isak the Pitbull Cruz did steal the show in this one. This fight wound up being much closer than a lot of, pretty much where everybody thought the fight was going to be. A lot of people thought that this fight was going to wind up just being, another Tank exhibition, maybe another Tank knockout, things of that nature. But as I already knew going into this fight, that Isak Cruz is one of the more tougher lightweights in the world right now, and he's a guy that was on the up and up as well too. He took this fight on short notice as well, so he was already in training to fight another fight, so everything worked out pretty well. But he wasn't just some person that they brought in to be a victim, not at all. Actually, Isak Cruz stole the night. And there's a lot of people who felt that he won the fight, and there's a lot of people that felt that the fight was a draw. All in all, what it did for Isak Cruz is make him a overnight superstar. So pretty much when he goes into his next fight, it will be anticipated. A lot of people will be excited for it, and it may be the main event for his first main event as well too with PBC. So things are looking on the up and up for Isak the Pitbull Cruz, who's an absolute stellar boxer. But all in all, Tank though had a lot of criticism in this fight because he actually boxed this time around and actually respected the power and the skills of Cruz to make sure that he fought a smart fight. And, a lot of people just want you to go in there and they want Tank to go in there and knock people out. That's exactly what they want Tank to do. And Tank has been so good at doing that when he doesn't knock people out, you think that he's having a bad performance. But all in all, though, he boxed brilliantly in that fight. He did everything that you had to do to win the fight. The fight was judged accordingly as well, too. I think that it did finish up in the correct manner, 115-113 with two judges, 116-112 with one. So, hey, it is what it is at the end of the day, and Tank Cruz goes ahead and gets himself a big win. The future for Tank, I think that he will have to get his hand healed up, and this may be something that could be a little bit detrimental down the road, because once you start breaking your hand and stuff, that's when the power really starts to go as well too. So hopefully his power doesn't go away, or doesn't go, doesn't lose a little bit of that that it has, because Tank is a very powerful dude, and I know that the knockout is going to keep everybody pulling up at all of his fights as well too. So he didn't get the highlight reel knockout, but he did get the victory as well too. He has plenty of options as well too moving forward, and he has plenty of options moving forward as well too. And the fact that, the lightweight division is very popular. He can also say 130 and take on Shakur, and also say, hey, you know what? I want to go ahead and get all the belts over at 140 and fight Josh Taylor, who I see is as a guy who's in the top 3 pound for pound in the world. And I will feel Tank is now in the top 5 pound per pound in the world as well too. And I'll give out my list very soon, but thing is though, I really respect resumes and what guys can do and what they bring to the table as well too, and the talent that they have. So Tank's right up there with the best of them. And a lot of people have to understand that we are looking at a boxer that is, pretty much a once in a generation type fighter, because you don't get guys to come out there and knock out guys on the biggest stage in front of sellouts on a consistent basis like Tank does. And when he didn't do that the other night, that doesn't take anything away from his boxing skills. It just didn't satisfy the masses. That's all it is. So we move on, and let's go ahead and talk about the next fight up. And this fight was actually on Saturday night. This was the Devin Haney Jojo Diaz fight for the WBC lightweight crown. This one fight was actually on the zone. The other fight was on pay-per-view. Now, this fight was a little different. It was in Las Vegas. It was at the MGM Grand. It wasn't a sellout either. And it's actually wasn't even a pro crowd for the guy who was the champion either. So Devin Haney, guy who lives in Las Vegas as well too, is still not being able to sell out the crowd. But a lot of people try to say he's not a draw, but I think he is a draw. But the problem is though, hey, you know what? At this point in time, Devin hasn't really stepped into the arena with a big time boxer, but he did get himself a guy who does have a lot of street credibility in Jojo Diaz. Jojo Diaz, I thought, was a great test to measure exactly what Devin Haney can be. And Devin Haney did an excellent job boxing him. But one thing I have to give to Jojo Diaz is Jojo Diaz showed so much heart in that fight. He did not quit at all. He brought the fight to Devin Haney all night. He made Devin Haney stay honest as well too. But Devin Haney connected on some great combinations and was able to take care of his business throughout the night as well too. But there were spots where Devin Haney did look a little off a little bit. But okay, hold on. We got my man Blue Blood coming in right now, so y'all give me a moment. Let me go ahead and get him in here real quick, and let's go ahead and bring in that man, the man himself, Blue Blood Sports TV. What's going on, brother? How's everything going? Yeah, man, I can hear you beautifully, brother. Which guy? I just went ahead and got started. I didn't know what was going on, but I'm glad that you made it. I knew that you would come in, so I just wanted to make sure I brought you in. So, now I just got done talking about the Tank Davis fight and everything. Can I get your 2 cents on how you felt about the fight, and what do you feel about both fighters moving forward as well, too?
Oh man, I thought it was. See, my thing is that I've been saying this forever. Everybody gets enamored with Devontae Davis's power. Everybody gets. That's what's exciting. That's the attraction about Devontae Davis. 25 wins, no loss, no draws. 24 wins by knockout. Going into this fight, and that's what attracts everybody. Man. He's a knockout artist. But I've been saying to people, and I've been telling people, if they were paying attention, listening to me, I've been saying this for quite some time that Devontae Davis is more than a power puncher. You know what I mean? He has it's his ring IQ, it's his skill set that gets him the knockouts. But if you look at the fight with him and Leo Santa Cruz, it was the way he set up the knockout. He set up Leo Santa Cruz, okay? He set up Mario Barrios for the knockout. So in this fight with Isaac Cruz, this is the first time he was at a size advantage in his professional career. Now, I don't know about being amateurs, but as a professional, this is the first time he had a size advantage. He was the taller man with a longer reach, and it was somebody that's aggressive. He's used to being on size disadvantage. And we got to keep in mind that Devontae Davis was preparing for a guy that was 2 to 3 inches taller than him, with a 3-inch arm reach advantage over him and Rolly Romero, and he had to switch that, and he prepared for a guy that was shorter than him. That's a drastic difference. So I was very impressed by his performance because he made adjustments. He fought in the boxer style as opposed to being aggressive. Everybody's used to Devontae Davis being the aggressor. He wasn't the aggressor. He was counter punching. He was boxing on the back foot, and we don't give him enough credit for that. He was dictating the pace on the back foot. Isaac Cruz was very aggressive. He was making him miss. Javante Davis was elusive in the ring. He wasn't getting hit. He got it's a sport of boxing. You're going to get hit, but he didn't get hit cleanly too often. He was elusive. He was slipping body punches. He was slipping the head punches. He was slipping Isaac Cruz's hooks. He made adjustments, and we don't give him enough credit for that because he didn't get a knockdown. He didn't visibly badly hurt Isaac Cruz, and he didn't get a knockout. So whenever a guy Tank Davis's stature, yes, and I agree with everybody. I want to see him in there with the best opposition that's available. I want to see him in there with Devin Haney. I want to see him in there with T.F.P. I want to see him in there now George Kambosos. I want to see him in there with Regis Prograis. Josh Taylor's going to move up, but I want to see him in there with the absolute best and the biggest names that we know. But this was a guy in Isaac Cruz that was a fight of a lifetime for him. This was an opportunity of a lifetime for Isaac Cruz. And, he came and he gave a valiant effort. 9 rounds to 3, and he broke his hand in the 6th round. You can physically see that. So, I was impressed by it. See, here's the thing. Hardcore boxing fans are going to be impressed by that because of the skill set that he displayed. Casual fans are going to say he was exposed because he didn't get a knockout. He didn't do what you are accustomed to seeing him do. So me personally, I was impressed by his performance.
And what did you think moving forward with where these career paths are going to go? We know Tank is going to always get the box office fights and everything like that. But what do you think of Isaac Cruz? Do you think that a championship is in his near future, especially if he kind of waits out the division a little bit and lets guys kind of move on down the road? Because as I always like to tell people is 135 and 130 and 140, all these, they're transitioning weight classes. You don't stay there forever unless you're a little guy like Isaac or Jojo Diaz or something of that nature. You stay in you stay in that world. But Devin Haney, Tank, their star power does not demand their great. They're not going to have their greatest day at this weight class, in my opinion. You know what I mean? But a guy like Isaac Cruz can go ahead and have his greatest day at this weight class. Do you see that happening?
Yeah, because he's going to stick around. And now he put up he was competitive against Tank Davis. He didn't get knocked out. He didn't get knocked out. He didn't get visibly hurt badly. He didn't get knocked down. You know what I'm saying? So he's going to be, a barometer. He could turn himself into, and I said this before the fight, he could actually turn himself into a lesser version, no disrespect to him, but a lesser version of Sean Porter. You see what I'm saying? He could be that barometer. He's going to bring it every night. He's going to be aggressive every night. He's going to be, competitive every night. But he may not get the victory. But he could be Sean Porter. He could stumble across a championship. Not that Sean Porter stumbled across a championship, but given the right opponent with the right title, he could definitely become a champion. So I do believe that I can't see him going up to 140. Like you said, this is not a division that you stick around. You make a name for yourself at 130, 135, and you get out of it. Unless you're a very small guy like maybe Gary Russell Jr. Situated. There's definitely big fights in the future for Isaac Cruz, Isaac Cruz. But I definitely feel like he can win a championship. I don't think he could beat Devin Haney. His style, he might be able to beat George Kambosos Jr. He might be able to beat George Kambosos Jr. because of his style and his aggression. And George Kambosos Jr. is not the biggest puncher in the world. You have to be. If Tank, I think Tank is the biggest puncher at 135. If Tank couldn't keep him off him with his power, nobody will. You have to be able to move. You have to have a high ring IQ. You have to be able to be agile and athletic to be able to keep Isaac Cruz off. If you can't do that, you in trouble.
I gotcha. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the Devin Haney fight over the weekend. As soon as you came in here, I was having my point and everything, just saying some things about this fight and all that good stuff. I felt that this was a very impressive performance for Devin, and I think that people can say now that he's actually fought somebody, and I would say that he's fought some people. You know, Gamboa is not a bad boxer on your resume. And I would say that, you know, pretty much Devin has put himself in a position to where he wants to show off his masterful skills, which he does have. And I thought he did a great job of displaying that. But I love the way that he had to go get the dog out as well, too, in a fight with a guy like Jojo Diaz. Now, I know a lot of people had the Linares situation. Oh, he had him hurt, blah, 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 blah. But, you know, that's good for him because that means he got the chin and that's boxing. You know what I mean? These guys are not superheroes. So if they're going to go into a fight, they're going to get punched. Okay, that's what they signed up for. So pretty much, it doesn't matter how great that they are avoiding things. They're gonna catch something eventually. So that's good that we understood that he had a chin. And then you bring in Jojo Diaz, a guy that has a monster chip on his shoulder and was a live dog in this fight, regardless of what anybody thinks, because his experience is overwhelming compared to what Devin has done. You know, JoJo was a Olympiad. You know, he's been fighting almost like a decade or so. And you know, there's a lot of things working out in his favor. He's a two-time champion as well, too. So this was a good stepping stone for Devin moving forward. And it just seemed like all the talk was just with him and Cambosis and making the unified situation occur. But I would say this: I don't know if George Cambosis can just go ahead and say, I'm not going to give Tio an automatic rematch. You know what I mean? I think that, you know, that works out for as well too. But I think for if we're moving on and we're trying to make this thing unified, the Devin Haney Cambosis fight is the right way to go. What do you think?
Yeah, they got to. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Sometimes the sport of boxing is more. We make it more complicated than what it needs to be. That's a
Right.
no-brainer. It should be automatic. Like um, Cambosis, and a few times he's been contradicting himself. He don't want to fight for money. It's not about money. It's about legacy, and it's about cementing himself as a world famous. Well, then why are you looking to fight Tank? Because Tank is you have the WBA super title. So what is there to fight Tank for other than money? He's the cash cow at junior welterweight and below. But if you look into fight for legacy, wouldn't you want to cement yourself historically at the lightweight division and put yourself in those books forever? You become the first undisputed lightweight in the history of sport of boxing to hold all four major sanction titles and the Ring Magazine title. The linealship, you want to be the seventh fighter in history to hold all four major sanction belts. You solidify yourself in history. You solidify yourself as a Hall of Famer, fighting and beating Devin Haney. You shocked the world beating Teofimo Lopez. Imagine if you come across the pond, you beat Teofimo Lopez, you beat Devin Haney. Then you go on as undisputed defend your undisputed titles against Tank for the biggest money out there. That just makes sense. So it's just simple mathematics. You should automatically, and it's an easy fight to make. When you fight Tank, it's not an easy fight to make because Tank is the ace. He's not Tank, Leonard Ellaby, Floyd. They're not going to budge on anything when it comes to Cambosis. They're not going to Australia. They're not going to give him a 50-50 split. They're gonna fight. He's gonna fight on their terms. So why would you want to fight on their terms when you have a fight with your boy Devin Haney that just makes sense and he's willing to fight on your terms? Okay, Devin Haney's willing to go to Australia. I'm sure Devin Haney's willing to take a 50-50 split because Devin Haney is fighting for legacy. He understands the money is coming from the pro. So with that said, why fight? Why wait and fight Devin Haney in the future? Devin Haney is outgrowing the division. So go ahead and fight him now. Solidify yourself. Leave no doubt that you're the undisputed champion. Don't leave any room for people to say, hey, well, you know what? You really not undisputed. You really just unified. This belt don't count. That belt. Do away with all that. You fought a week apart from him. Yo, he wants to fight. He said he'll fight you in Jupiter. He's not trying to run the demands. He's not trying to break bank on you. He's gonna get what he's gonna get a little more than what he already gets because it's an undisputed match. But it's just simple mathematics. He wants to fight. You're both network free agents. You have Eddie Hearn that's willing to put up the big money for the fight. You want to fight in Australia. He said he'll oblige you and fight you in Australia. It's just simple mathematics. It's nothing to discuss. You know, so the fact that he's saying now, I got to see. Well, now he changed his tune after the Tank fight. He actually said that he thought that Isaac Cruz won the fight. And, and he said that Isaac Cruz wanted to Tank. And so it's time to negotiate. So the Devin Haney fight just makes all the sense in the world when it comes to Devin Haney and Jojo Diaz in that fight. Devin Haney makes fights harder than what it needs to be because all Jojo Diaz's success, not slighting Jojo Diaz, what we saw in the first 3 rounds, he couldn't land a punch. When he was able to land the punches, when Devin Haney gave him the opportunity to land the punch. So everything Devin Haney, any type of adversity he faces is adversity that he allows himself to be in because he gives his opponents, I think he gets so comfortable in the ring, he gives his opponents opportunities. So he gave Jojo Diaz opportunities to land that left hook that he was landing consistently because that was he was trying to slip underneath and land a right uppercut. He was trying to stop Jojo Diaz, and he gave him opportunities, just like he did Jorge Linares. Right, he outboxed him. He didn't win a round. Linares didn't win a round, even though he got buzzed in the 10th round. He got buzzed at 10 seconds left in the 10th round. If it was even 10 seconds, like 5 seconds left of a 5-punch combination. The last punch got through and buzzed. He won. He was dominating that round. Okay, so all the rounds, any adversity he faces, any type of success his opponents have, is all on him giving him that success. He's very rangy. He's very fast. He's very fleet-footed. Have a ring IQ. He has respect power as Jojo Diaz. A lot of people say Devin Haney don't have a chin. He don't have power. Well, he didn't hit the deck. George Kambosos Jr. is not the biggest puncher in the world. In 20-plus fights, he only has 10 knockouts. So that's an indicator that he's not a big puncher. Okay, but he dropped Teofimo Lopez. He hit the canvas. Jorge Linares is a future Hall of Famer, 3-division world champion. He dropped Lomachenko. He buzzed Devin Haney. He didn't drop Devin Haney. Okay, he dropped Lomachenko. He sat Lomachenko down. Okay, and Yuriorkis Gamboa is an Olympic gold medalist. He's the 3-division world champion. Yes, he was past his prime. He wasn't the same guy. But just think, he went 12 rounds with Tank after popping his Achilles in the 3rd round. He lasted another, 8 rounds, 8 to 4, 9 rounds with Tank Davis with a popped Achilles. That's the worst injury a professional athlete has suffered. He injured it right along. He popped his Achilles, still went 12 rounds. So we got to take note of these things. So Devin Haney, George Kambosos Jr. fight needs to be made in Australia. And there's some limitations in Australia, but the fight needs to be made.
Yeah, and I think that stretching it out to about May, June is the smart thing to do once they get all their little information and all their little things together and stuff like that. Now, my point on Kambosos is this. I saw a lot of parading around this week with him. You know what I mean? And I was like, that's nice that you won the championship and everything like that, but you're still like the new kid on the block, bro, when it comes to like what we're talking about with these top guys. And let's just all say this. You just had a great night in New York City. That doesn't mean that you're a shot caller now, okay? You're not. You're just not, okay? And pretty much you're gonna go with the flow because at the end of the day, you could have easily said, "Hey, I beat T.O. I'm gonna just break these belts up and take this WBO belt." But he knows that's probably the one belt that out of the 4 belts, that's number 4. You know what I mean? That and literally, the thing is, they demanded that they do the fight because they wanted to get him an opportunity. As T.O. always said, T.O. was like, I was willing to go ahead and just drop the belt and just go move on because I talked to T.O. 2 years ago and he told me that the plan was to beat Kami and then move up to 140. But they got the Loma fight. So pretty much they get the Loma fight and he wins, and then it takes him a whole year to defend it. So I think that it was about timing. You know what I mean? I think that T.O. never really wanted to fight the guy. And I think that when Triller Triller kind of roadblocked this thing a little bit too, jumping in the middle of it and then switching dates and playing around a lot because they're not boxing. They're new to this. They're trying to sell an entertainment they're trying to sell entertainment. They're not selling a boxing match. You know what I mean? So I think that they really held this thing up, and that was detrimental to T.O. as well, too, moving forward. But I think another thing, George Kambosos is getting caught up in the same thing T.O. was getting caught up in. Everybody wants to be your friend all of a sudden. You're getting calls from Canelo, and life is different now. You know what I mean? Now, when you go places, everybody says the undisputed champ and all this stuff, but people still don't know who George Kambosos is, though. That's why I keep saying you're nothing but a guy who was fortunate to win that night. You're I like to say right now, he has to prove to us he can do anything with Devin Haney because right now he looks just like a belt holder. Come on, man. We've seen this with Buster Douglas. We've seen this with plenty of guys. You know what I mean? Where guys get to hold on to a whole lot of belts, and that don't mean it means absolutely nothing. You know, Michael Moore. You know, and I'm just thinking about my heavyweight stuff because that's where I've seen it happen at frequently. But like Kambosos, that's great. You did what you had to do. You patiently waited for the fight, and you got your fight. But I still think that as medical reports and things are starting to come out, there was something wrong with T.O. that night. And we both know this. And so pretty much now we know that if they have a rematch, if it ever would happen, I would say that T.O. will probably knock him out, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? And I think that Kambosos, I like his attitude. I like his that he's willing to do this, but we heard this BS before. You know what I mean? Guy gets the belt. Oh yeah, I'm gonna fight everybody. Bring them on. I'm that guy. You know what I mean? And then, we start talking money and things get different. You know what I mean? It's not about the fighting for the pride and fighting for legacy anymore.
He's actually going to be at the Garden on Saturday. George Kambosos for the Lomachenko Comey fight. So
Right.
he's going on the tour.
Right. And you know what? He keeps saying, "I want to fight in Australia," but you're hanging out in the U.S. It sounds like you really want to fight in the U.S., but you're using Australia so your people can get excited about it. But really, maybe to push them to get on a plane to come on out here. You know what I mean? Like they do for all Fury.
Trying to solidify itself back in Australia.
Right. Because I think they barely know him, right?
According to him, he said that they know him very well. He stated that all of the press and publicity, things of that nature that he's having here, he's been having over there. Well, how many superstar boxers or combat athletes do they have in Australia in boxing? I mean, Jeff Horn, they was considering Jeff Horn's win against Manny Pacquiao the greatest win in Australia history. So, they don't have many boxers that are very successful coming out of Australia. So I can see the praise and accolades that he's getting, and shocking the world beating Teofimo Lopez. And, he didn't just beat him on the scorecard, but getting a knockdown, that was big. That was huge for his brain. So, he's definitely, like you said, I believe he's going to lose to Devin Haney. So I believe he's definitely a belt holder. You know what I mean? But he placed himself in the record books, and he's trying to capitalize on it. Right? You have a big fight with Devin Haney, and even if he loses, he's still going to be like Isaac Cruz to a higher degree, right? He's going to be the guy that still he's already made a name for himself. He's already marked. So you get a lightweight coming up, or junior welterweight coming up. Should he move up? Get you a fight with George Kambosos. That's a fight that people know. You know what I mean? He's a name now. He's somebody that you got to identify with. So I think at this point in time, he's trying to capitalize on that newfound star. And it just happened so the lightweight division was on full display for us, right? For a month. Ain't that something? and he was the victim. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
The whole apple cart. Because we all expected Tank to win. We all expected Devin to win. We all expected Teal. He's the one that upset the apple cart. He shook the ground. And so, you know, the attention is on him. The focus is on him because of that. And now, like you said, I believe he's just a devil. I don't think he can beat Tank. I don't think he'll beat that. I don't think he'll beat Teal from on. I don't know about Ryan Garcia. I don't know about his commitment to the sport. You know, but I don't even think George Kambosos Jr. on his, he could be. It's a 50-50 fight with him and Cruz and him and Jojo Diaz. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
But he got lucky. Timing is everything. You know.
Right, right. It's just, the Garden, man. I was there for Ruiz, AJ. Some nights it's just your night, and that it is what it is. And we got to thank the Garden for making sure they reward great nights, because we know if that might have been in Vegas, that could have been in Texas, or maybe even California. They'd have been, well, the fight seemed a little close. We'll make it a draw, or 115, 113 to TO unanimous decision. Now, no offense to Sean Porter, I sat right there with in Carson and saw Yordenis Ugas beat him 8 out of the 12 rounds that they fought, and they gave Sean a unanimous decision. So you can't get nothing past me. And it's just, I know it's boxing, and when they say bad decisions, I always say it's boxing. It is what it is. It's a objective sport, and I know that. Hey, sometimes I make a card and it's well off from what the judges are saying and from what the people are even seeing, but I'm seeing a fight that they might not be seeing.
Right.
That's how I feel, because let me give you a good one.
I personally thought that Sean Porter won the fight against him.
Oh, you did?
But I wasn't there. So being there and watching it and watching on TV, like you said, it's two different things.
Right. And I felt like Ugas carried the night, you know what I mean? And he did everything that you were supposed to do. And then when they didn't count the knockdown, I knew he was in trouble. You know what I mean? Because Sean didn't slip. He got knocked down, dude. I'm right behind Ugas, and I'm looking at feet and looking at gloves, and nobody tripped anybody. You know what I mean? But Jack Reese was having a bad 3 months at that time. Come on, the guy didn't even wave off Fury after he was literally dead in the ring. We were all there at the first one, and I've seen Jack Reese plenty of times. I've seen other refs plenty of times when a guy hits his head that hard on the canvas, the fight's over. But he continued to fight. Huh? Yeah, so there's just a lot of things that go into this thing. So why don't we go ahead, switch gears a little bit, talk about Bud Crawford, and is he the real pound for pound king? And the reason why I say this, I know that you guys are real in between Bud and Spence and things of that nature. I know that's how it is in our community and things like that when it comes down to our side of talking about the boxing and everything like that. But I truly do feel with the resume that Bud does have, he does really actually is sitting as the best pound for pound. I know everybody Canelo this, Canelo that, Canelo this, but we saw Canelo get one-sided, and we seen Canelo have some pretty sketchy decisions for him as well too. I would say that he's the best show in boxing. I'll give him that. But I think the pound for pound king, for real, a guy who dominated 3 straight divisions, and then now he's pretty much getting avoided once he gets to the money division of 147. It has to be Bud Crawford, man. At the end of the day, they trying to wait him out till he gets old, but I don't think that's just dumb to do.
I don't think that anybody's trying to wait him out. But I will say that I do think he's the best. I think he made bad business decisions as far as resigning and expecting him to get in those fights when he knows that, and just like we all knew that prior to him, coming to the welterweight division, there's friction between PBC and Tyler. You know what I mean? To get those big fights. And Rob is not interested in losing money, as he let us know. He feels like he loses money when he's dealing with Terrence Crawford. I'm personally happy that Terrence Crawford parted ways, because he should have been a much bigger star. As far as him being the pound for pound king, I've been saying that since he beat Julius Ndongo. You know what I mean? I thought that he was the pound for pound king since the moment he beat Julius Ndongo. And Andre Ward retired, and he didn't lose. And like you said, we saw Canelo in fights, one-sided fight. We saw him in questionable wins. I thought that Canelo Alvarez lost that Sunday. Now, I'm in the minority. I thought that Canelo beat Triple G both times. I thought he edged it out. But again, those are competitive fights that could have went either way. Now, I know people can tell me, yeah, well, look at the level of competition that Canelo fought compared to the level of competition that Terrence Crawford fought. That's the reason why Terrence Crawford is not in as many competitive fights as Canelo Alvarez is. But we saw Terrence Crawford now with Sean Porter. And yes, everybody's in a nip and tuck back and forth type of fight when you're dealing with Terrence Crawford. When you're dealing with Sean Porter. But he got a knockout victory. So I think that Terrence Crawford, his versatility, his ability to, I think he translates to any division. I think that if he fought Canelo Alvarez at 154, he would beat Canelo Alvarez at 154. I told Terrence Crawford team that, and they didn't even believe it. They told me that I was bugging. So I think that his skill set translates, to any weight class. That's why I got him the pound for pound king. On the pound for pound list, we altered it now in today's time. The pound for pound list was created for Sugar Ray Robinson. The pound for pound list was created for guys under heavyweight because obviously, as the heavyweight division goes so low, it's more the boxing. So if you're a heavyweight, there's nobody. If you're the best heavyweight in the world, there's no other fighter that can beat you. That's just common sense, right? Terrence Crawford can't beat Tyson Fury. Canelo can't beat Tyson Fury, right? Errol Spence can't beat Tyson Fury. Tank Davis can't beat. That's just simple common sense. That's so that's why they are in a league of their own. They carry the sport of boxing, the heavyweight division too. So they're not even supposed to. They exempt from the pound for pound list, but yet you have ESPN putting heavyweights Usyk and Tyson Fury on the pound for pound list. So it's altering what the pound for pound stands for. And that's why there's confusion on it as far as pound for pound list goes. But I think that Terrence Crawford's skill set, the pound for pound list was created for his skill set, right? Who translates? His skill set translates to any division. Terrence Crawford's ability to switch from southpaw to orthodox. He could box in all three different levels. He could box on the inside. He could box on the mid range. He could box on the outside, right? Is he great on the inside? No. Is he good on the inside? Yes. He's great mid-range and he's great on the outside. He's good on the inside. He gets buzzed, he gets clipped on the inside, but he's still good there. He's good enough to win fights on the inside. And so with that said, he translates. Canelo Alvarez, we see him have glaring weaknesses, okay? We saw him, the Austin Trout fight, he struggled in the Austin Trout fight, and the open scorecards said that he wasn't struggling in the fight, said it wasn't a competitive fight, which saw Austin Trout have to get away from his normal game plan. Austin Trout went and got out of character and had to mix it up when he got dropped. I think that proved to be the difference in the fight. Now, the scorecards is going to read Canelo Alvarez unanimous decision over Austin Trout, but it was a competitive fight. And most people don't remember it was a competitive fight simply because of the scorecards, right? We saw the scorecards before Miller won every single round against Canelo Alvarez, and yet the one judge found a way to give him a draw, which means he won 6 rounds against Fort Miller. He didn't win 1 round. Aristotle Law fight, I thought he was outboxed. He showed his weakness. He showed his vulnerabilities. His foot speed suffered. Even in the Caleb Plant fight, the first half, he was struggling against Caleb Plant. Now, he has a high wing IQ. He's very smart. He knows that he has to put his opponents in position where he can be successful because he knows his clear weaknesses, because he knows his shortcomings. So his ring IQ is high enough to put you in positions where where he could be successful and you're going to suffer. So he eventually, overcame Caleb Plant's skill set. He was patient against Caleb Plant, right? He took what Caleb Plant gave him, right? He went to the body against Caleb Plant consistently. Why? Because he couldn't hit Caleb Plant up top because Caleb Plant was being too slick, being too shifty for him. So, but he still has those weaknesses. So those are things that we don't see with Terrence Crawford. Now, today's time, because of Terrence Crawford's lack of opponents, higher level opponents. Can you make the case that Canelo is better? Yeah, you can. But I personally think that Terrence Crawford is the best fighter in the world, pound for pound, best fighter in the world. I think Errol Spence is on his heels. I think that's a 50-50 fight. And the reason I pegged Errol Spence slightly to beat Terrence Crawford is simply because of Errol Spence's level of competition, right? His discipline, level of competition, his skill set, his technique in the ring. I give him that edge because steel sharpens steel. So he's been fighting better competition. Now, it's a 50-50 fight. It could go either way. I think at the welterweight division, Terrence Crawford could beat Errol Spence, and Errol Spence could beat Terrence Crawford. If you tell me Errol Spence will beat Terrence Crawford, I'm not mad at you. If you tell me Terrence Crawford will beat Errol Spence, I ain't mad at you. That's why, to me, it's the biggest fight in boxing.
I love it. I love it. And you know what? Just to back you up on that one, I thought I was the only one that thought Lara won that fight as well, too, because people look at me crazy when I said that, man, he lost that. Canelo lost that fight. Like, and he even knew it. Oscar, all of them knew it. Because when they asked for a rematch, they said, hell no. So, yeah, just like Tank the other night with Isak. No. We're not going to do this one again. You know what I mean? And so I'm with you on that one. And I totally agree with you on the also on the basis that, you know, the Floyd situation as well, too. And also Austin Trout, I thought was having a magnificent night until he switched up the game plan, like you just said. And I think that they favored that for him that night because, you know, he had knocked out Canelo's brother. So, you know, pretty much I'm trying to revenge my brother's loss. You know what I mean? And that's what the fight was all about. And, you know, he was taking the same whooping his brother was taking as well, too. So, you know, pretty much then, you know, you make mistakes and then, you know, Canelo is able to adjust. One thing I will give Canelo props is he's a very improved fighter from what he was when he fought Floyd Mayweather. Yes, that is true. And he's became more technical. But as I always tell everybody, they always say Eddie Reynoso gets all the props in the world for the training job he does with Canelo. But I say that really the lesson was learned the night that he fought Floyd Mayweather, and I feel like he's been fighting in a more of a defensive stance and more of a smarter fights once he fought Floyd Mayweather. And I think that he got the greatest lesson from the TBE. So, you know, they can say that they're training him all they want to, but I just think he just keeps going back to that tape and seeing all of his mistakes and making sure that he's not going to make him in the fight. You know what I mean? But I would say this. I know a lot of people don't want to hear this right now about Canelo, but I think that his prime is somewhat fading just a little bit. Not a lot, just a little bit. You brought up a good point with Caleb making life pretty hard on him the first 8 rounds of the night. You know what I mean? And what's going to happen when he gets to his next opponent? And now they're saying he's cherry picking things of that nature. But the guy that he wants to fight at 190 is no slouch. And fighting at 190 is a lot different from fighting at 168. You know, these guys have one I like to say one kill power. You know what I mean? And they can knock you out. It doesn't matter how great you think your chin is. They have the power to put you out. You know what I mean? So I think that that's more of a publicity thing. And I think that pretty much he's weighing out options right now where he's going to go to next. And I know it's not going to be anybody that's going to be able to truly give him the fight that the fight that we're looking for. You know what I mean? It's going to be a fight that's going to be safe. So I think that all in all, most likely he'll probably wind up fighting somebody. And this is kind of comes off guard a little bit. He might take old Darrell up on his offer. You know what I mean? Because Darrell had an exciting knockout on his card, so he might take that up on his because he said that he wants a part of Canelo, and he's been calling out Darrell for years, blase. But we both know the fight that Canelo covets, and that's the Andre Ward fight. Andre Ward said he ain't getting off the stool yet, but I think he's bluffing us, though, to keep it honest with you.
I think Andre Ward will
beat him. Yeah. I think he will beat him too. And it wouldn't even be a close fight, to be honest with you. You just give Andre 2 tune-ups, and I think that he'll be able to handle Canelo pretty easily. You know, he just need one, you say?
One.
Yep, one. and then about 6 months before you get the fight with Canelo. So he can train, put himself all the way back into. But Canelo wants to call that fight out now because he knows that Andre has been chilling for a while and everything like that. But he's in great shape too, though, at the same time. So, I always really was mad what they did to Andre Ward, how Triple G just avoided the situation when he was saying he was the best of the best and he can knock everybody out. He totally avoided Andre Ward because he knew what was going to happen. And then Canelo wants to come around when people are been retired for 3 years and say that I want to fight now. You know what I mean? So, like, if you really want to fight him, you would have fought him when he was pound for pound king. You would have demanded to fight him as when he was the pound for pound king, in my opinion. So, you know, we'll see how it goes. And man, I hope everything with that happens in 2022 can really happen. You know what I mean? And that's where I go into our next topic is where do you feel like the momentum that's been established over the last 6 months, because it seems like great cards, some great matchups and everything like that. Do you feel this will continue in 2022?
I think it's gonna be bigger in 2022. And the reason I say that is because I think that, like you said, the ball got rolling the momentum in 2021, and a lot of egos in 2022. A lot of people want to prove that they could top Canelo Alvarez, they could top Errol Spence, they could top Terrence Crawford, including themselves. Right? Errol Spence, he wants to get back in the mix and prove that he could top out Terrence Crawford. You know what I mean? There's people that doubt Errol Spence, not just his abilities on the ring, but just his health and his, those injuries. So he wants to prove against the best that he's back on his game, right? Terrence Crawford, a free agent. Terrence Crawford happy to be a free agent. Terrence Crawford is like, listen, they let me off the porch, right? I want to fight the absolute best. Canelo Alvarez, I feel like, is going to be in cruise control after he accomplished what he accomplished. Now he's just going to look back and say, right? Um, and Tank Davis, he's going to be looking to prove a point because people actually feel like he lost against Isaac Cruz. Now, I don't feel like any real boxing fan, anybody deal with facts over feelings, they know that he won the fight. But just there's emotional people that just want to see him lose, or the Mexican fan base that just want to see him lose, and they're gonna say he lost. So he gonna be looking to prove a point. George Ambrose Jr. Is gonna be looking to say, you know what, I earned my position, I earned my spot. You know what I mean? So he gonna be looking to make a statement. I think that the momentum is just gonna pick up. Man, I think we're gonna get the Terrence Crawford fight. I think we're gonna get Tank versus Devin Haney or somebody that we've been waiting for. I think that Canelo is gonna be in cruise control. I think we're gonna get undisputed at heavyweight. I think we're gonna get a lot of clarification in 2022.
I think so too, and I think that what's going to happen is that I think we're going to have another American heavyweight emerge, one of these young guys, and I think I'm putting my money behind Big Baby Anderson. That guy is incredible. I think that he can do some big things. I know he's not going to be fighting for any titles anytime soon, but he's sparred with the best of them, and he just keeps chugging along, and he just keeps having impressive outcomes as well too. And I think that he's on to being a pretty big star. And I think by the next 18 months, he should be getting his first title shot as well too. What do you think of him?
Yeah, I like Big Baby Anderson, man. I don't know if he's gonna get the title shot, but I think he's gonna step up the level of competition. I think he's gonna get the level of maybe like a Johan Duhaupas. I mean, excuse me. What's his name? He just beat Andy Adam Karnaki.
Helenas?
Hellenius. I think he'll get levels of fights like that. Maybe a Charles Martin. Fights like that to solidify himself. But I do think we're going to get Jerome Boutinez is going to solidify himself as the boogeyman in boxing. He's going to fight somebody and step up, and he's going to make a statement, and he's going to be solidified as the boogeyman in boxing. and they're gonna clear out the welterweight division. Ain't nobody trying to get that opportunity.
Well, from what I know, and from what I've had talks with these guys and everything like that, and from what I know, I think everybody's heading over to 154 fairly soon. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Out the veterans of the 147 that we've come to know over the last decade or so, because I think Charlo's about ready to start breaking up belts, because I don't think he cares too much about being a unified champion too much anymore. He did kind of say that a little bit more, because I think that, you know, when you think about it, his brother is probably going to be moving up to 168, and then he'll probably go up to 160. So I think that, you know, after the Castano fight, it doesn't matter win or lose, he's moving up. You know what I mean? He's going to be done with that division, because, you know, what more can he do there? You know what I mean? So that's going to probably be the most exciting fight to start the year off as well, too, because that was a hell of a fight in San Antonio last summer.
Yeah, I think he's gonna beat Castano. So I think he'll become undisputed. He accomplished what he needed to accomplish. He beat everybody at tournament weight, and he's gonna go up to 60. I think that Jamal Charlo is gonna move up to 68. Canelo's gonna vacate those belts, so he'll be able to fight for the vacant belt at 68. I think that we're gonna finally get Andre and Jamal Charlo at 60. I think that they're gonna settle their beef at 60. Jamal Charlo is not gonna fight David Benavidez. David Benavidez is probably gonna fight David Lemieux for the vacant WBC title. But we definitely gonna get some clarification, you know. And I think that, you know, a lot is going to be revealed in 2022. I think some big name fighters going to take some losses.
I agree. Because some guys are getting kind of old up there, and some guys are getting a little too rich as well, too. So you know how that goes, brother. You know, so pretty much, you know what time it is, man. So, Blue, I know you're a busy man and everything like that. You joined us today from the barber shop. I thank you very much for that. What's going on, good brother? Oh, you at the tat shop. Sorry about that, but my good brother joined us today from New York City, Brooklyn. We in Brooklyn, right?
Long Island.
Oh, we in Long Island today. Okay, so pretty much, I can't wait to get back to New York, hang out with Blue a little bit. I know he'll be back on the West Coast fairly soon as well, too. I'm mad that I missed him last weekend, but it's all good. This is my guy right here. You guys make sure to go follow Blue Blood Sports TV on the YouTube, one of the best boxing channels that you guys can be a part of as well. He has got you guys with the insider stuff, and we'll keep it real. We don't play the Chris Mannix, Sergio Moya games over here, man. Everything is real, and you're gonna either like it, you're gonna love it, or you're gonna hate it. It is what it is, or despise it. You know what I mean? So, but at the end of the day, it's just always gonna be. The truth hurts, and that's exactly what Blue brings. And I respect you so much, and I thank you so much for coming on to the show today, too, brother.
Man, I appreciate you. Appreciate you having me, great brothers.
All right, man. So you make sure you get that tat. Let me see how it's looking when you get done with it. And enjoy your day, and hopefully I can bring you back in about a month or two.
Appreciate you.
All right, brother. Have a good one, man. And man, make sure you're not getting nothing too crazy. You don't want to be hurting tonight.
Sure.
All right, man. All right. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and take a quick commercial break. And when I get back, we're gonna go ahead and be right back with the NBA and everything like that. And once again, you guys are the absolute best. So when I get back, you guys, we will be talking that hoop. So stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles Live, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, we are back with the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles Live, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. And let's go ahead and get into the Lakers and the Celtics tonight, the greatest rivalry in all of sports. So pretty much we have the Lakers coming into this game right now 12-12 on the year, and we have the Celtics 13-11. The Celtics are 7-7 straight up on the road. They are 10-4 against the spread, though. They're doing real well against the spread this year. And then when it comes to the over and under, they went under 9 out of their 14 games on the road. And also, when it comes to playing the Western Conference, they are 5-3 straight up, 6-2 against the spread, and they are even when it comes to the over and under. Now, the Lakers, on the other hand, 8-7 at home, 3-11-1 against the spread at home. They've went over 10 out of their 15 games and 5 straight overs in their last 5 as well, too, at home. And then against the East, they're 6-4 straight up and 6-3-1 against the spread versus the East. Now, when it comes down to the over/under against the East, they've went over 7 out of the 10 games that they played against the Eastern Conference. The Lakers coming to this game tonight with LaMelo available to play, and then not LaMelo, but Carmelo available to play, and then also. Heads up, Jaylen Brown will be a scratch tonight with the hamstring injury. He's just resting. So go ahead and put that into your notes that Boston will be without Jaylen Brown tonight as well. But this game will be the second of matchup of the year between the Lakers and the Celtics. The first time around, the Lakers jumped out to a 38-30 lead at the end of the first quarter, wound up losing that game 130-108. So that pretty much meant that the Lakers got outscored 100-70 on the way out and wound up losing that game by 22 points. So the Lakers try to get that get back tonight. They will have LeBron, unlike they did in the last time they played against the well, actually, LeBron was there. I'm sorry about that. But they'll be back, and they'll be looking forward to getting themselves a good win over the Boston Celtics tonight. But this is going to be a good one. Celtics-Lakers, always a tremendous spot. All right, so we move on, and we have ourselves 3 games in the NBA tonight, and we're going to cover 2 of them right now. So the first one that we have up here is going to be the Nets and the Mavericks. The Mavericks and Nets are going at it tonight. The Nets coming in here as a -145 favorite, while the Mavs are +120, skinny dog, and they are a +2.5 on the spread as well. We got our over-under of 221.5. Now, the Nets come into this game 8-2 straight up on the road. They've won 5 in a row as well in this spot. Then they're 5-5 against the spread on the road. And then when it comes down to the over and under, they have went over in 5 of the 10 games, but they have a push as well too here. So there goes with that. So they're pretty much even with the push. But when they play the West, they are 2-2 straight up, 0-4 against the spread versus the West. So they're beating the West, but they're not covering. And the 2 games that they did lose were to the Warriors and the Suns. And the 2 games that they didn't cover, one I think was against the Pelicans, and the other one was against the Thunder. So pretty much that's why you run into situations like that with the Nets. But that means absolutely nothing to me because this team is absolutely lights out on the road when it comes down to actually just winning the game. Now, the Mavs, on the other hand, 6-5 at home, losers of their last 4 in a row at home as well, too. 3-8 against the spread at home, and then they've went under in 7 out of their 11 games. Now, straight up against the East, they're 2-5, and against the spread, they're 1-6, and they've went over in 4 out of the 7 games that they played against the Eastern Conference. So when I look at this one, I say to myself that this game does wind up feeling like it's going to go under for some odd reason tonight. And I think that it's going to be a high-scoring game for the team that wins, but the team that loses is not going to get a lot of points tonight, and this will fall up under the 221.5, in my opinion. So there it is, and we move forward from there to our next game, which is going to be a rematch of the NBA Finals from 1999, and that's going to be between the Knicks and the Spurs. And the Spurs did go off and win that series 4-1 that year as well, too, but the Knicks had a magical run as the first and only AC to make it to the NBA Finals. So we have the Knicks here, 11-2, 11-12 on the season. They've taken 2 steps back after that 5-1 start. Since that point, this team is 6-11. So they have really cooled off. And then you have the Spurs, who are 8-13, and they're playing much better basketball. Peep this, they've won their last 2 out of 3 games, but catch their competition. They played at Portland, then went the next night and played in San Francisco against the best team in the league, in the Warriors, and then played against the team that was just coming off of an 18-game winning streak in the Suns and lost by 4. So they have a lot of things working out well for them coming into this game tonight. Now, the Knicks are 6-4 against the spread and straight up on the road. Now, when it comes to over and unders, they've went under out of 7 out of the 10 games that they've been in on the road. And when it comes to the West straight up, they're 3-2 against the spread, 1-4. And then when it comes to the over and under, they went over in 3 out of the 5 games they played against Western Conference teams. Now, the Spurs 4-6 straight up at home, 6-4 against the spread at home. Now, when it comes to overs and unders, they have went over in 8 out of the 10 games that they've had at home. Now, they played 8 games against the Eastern Conference, going 5-3 against the spread straight up, and against the spread and straight up, and going over 5 times in the 8 games. So you have the Spurs coming in here, and I will pay them as my baby chihuahua today. They're going to be my light dog of the day, my little dog of the day. Little dog. Look at little dog. But I do like them a lot tonight. I think that they'll do pretty well, and we did hit the dog of the day last night with the Atlanta Hawks cashing that ticket for plus 120. So tonight we ride the Spurs. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. And let's go ahead and check out Talkin Tickets. And we talking them tickets, dog. And up first, we got the pick 6 in college basketball. We're going to go with Providence tonight. They're playing against Vermont. We have them with the 6.5. We're going with Virginia. They're on the road tonight, but I love them in this spot with the minus 5.5 here. And then we have UMASS going against Northeastern tonight. I like them here as well, too, with the plus 110. You got a Navy team that's very good right now. They've won their first 6 out of 7 games this year. I think they should be good money tonight against George Mason, who is struggling at 4-5. So I'm taking Navy with the plus 5.5. And then I love Oakland here with the money line minus 135. They're playing against Bowling Green. Oakland played some really good basketball over the weekend, beating up on their Horizon League compadres. And then you have Butler playing Oklahoma in Norman, but that's okay. I'm going with the Big East knowledge that, the Big East has just been crushing it against other conferences, especially these Power 5 conferences. So I'm taking Butler today with the plus 10 today. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out, and we go from there. Now, we do have ourselves a pretty good group here with the pick 3. It's 7-1 today. We have the under 222 with the Nets and the Mavs, and then we also have the Spurs tonight as our small dog of the day with the plus 120. And then we also have the over 219.5 with the Lakers and the Celtics tonight. So that's where we're going with Talking Tickets tonight. And with that, I want to thank you guys very much for tuning in today. You guys are the absolute best. I'll be back tomorrow. I should have Mike Abadir with me to talk some CFP, talk some NFL, talk some NBA, talk some MLB as well too. So you guys make sure to tune in for that. So I thank you guys once again. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles Live. As I always say, if you got a hunch, bet a bunch. Always bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving, and I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.